10 modifications Ram dealers refuse to install, warranty departments flag on site, and federal regulators technically disapprove of. All 10 make your truck run better. Most cost under $200. Some void your warranty. One sits in a legal gray area that nobody enforces, but everybody knows about. If you own a HEMI and you're not doing at least half of these, you're leaving performance and longevity on the table. The first trick is the one your intake manifold is begging you for, and the one your dealer will tell you isn't necessary. An oil catch can. It's a small canister that installs in the PCV line between the valve cover and the intake manifold. Its job is simple: intercept the oil vapor and blow-by gases that your engine's positive crankcase ventilation system routes back into the intake before they reach your intake valves. Here's what happens without one. Every combustion cycle produces blow-by, a small amount of exhaust gas and oil vapor that slips past the piston rings into the crankcase. Your PCV system collects that vapor and sends it back through the intake to be burned off. That sounds clean on paper. In practice, the oil vapor coats the intake runners and the backsides of your intake valves with a thick, sticky carbon residue. After 50,000 miles, the buildup is noticeable. After 100,000 miles, the inside of your intake manifold looks like it's been coated in tar. That carbon restricts airflow, reduces valve sealing, and creates hot spots that promote pre-ignition and knock. A catch can intercept the vapor before it enters the intake. The oil condenses inside the canister. You drain it periodically, usually every oil change interval, and the intake stays clean. The part costs $50 to $150 depending on the brand. Installation is 30 minutes with basic hand tools. No tune required, no wiring, no cutting. It bolts in line and starts working immediately. Your dealer will tell you the PCV system works as designed and a catch can isn't necessary. They're right that the system works as designed. They're wrong that it doesn't matter. The design routes oil vapor into the intake because emissions regulations require it, not because it's good for your engine. A catch can doesn't eliminate the PCV function. It filters what passes through it. Your engine stays compliant. Your intake stays clean. And in 30 years, no dealer has offered to install one because clean intake valves at 200,000 miles don't generate service revenue. The second trick is the one that sits in the gray area, and it's the one every HEMI owner with lifter anxiety needs to understand. Permanent MDS delete through a PCM tuner. If you watched the Hidden Features video on this channel, you know that tow/haul mode temporarily disables MDS while it's active. That method is free, it works, and it resets every time you turn the truck off. A PCM tuner, Diablo, HemiFever, or similar, does something different. It reprograms the powertrain control module to permanently disable the multi-displacement system. Not until you restart. Not until you change modes. Permanently? MDS never activates again until you flash the PCM back to stock. This is the one federal regulators technically have a problem with. The EPA classifies PCM reprogramming that alters emissions-related calibrations as emissions tampering. MDS is part of the fuel economy calibration, and modifying it technically falls under that umbrella. In practice, nobody is enforcing this on individual truck owners, disabling cylinder deactivation on their personal vehicles. Every Ram forum has threads with hundreds of owners running MDS-disabled tunes for years without consequence. But the technical classification exists, and you should know it exists before you make the decision. Here's why HEMI owners do it anyway. MDS cycling is the primary mechanical contributor to lifter failure on 5.7 HEMIs, especially 2009 through 2016 models with variable valve timing. Every cycle between 8 and 4 cylinders loads and unloads the lifters that control deactivation. Over tens of thousands of cycles, oil starvation at low RPM causes those lifters to wear internally, collapse, and gouge the camshaft. Disabling MDS permanently eliminates the cycling entirely. The lifters stay in one position. The camshaft sees consistent loading. The failure mode that costs $8,000 to repair is removed from the equation. A tuner runs $300 to $500. On 2015 and newer HEMIs, the PCM is locked from the factory. You'll need an unlock service that costs around $200 before the tuner can flash the module. Total investment, $500 to $700. Compare that to $8,000 for an engine replacement when a lifter collapses. The math isn't complicated. And neither is the installation. You plug the tuner into your OBD port, follow the on-screen instructions, and the flash takes about 20 minutes in your driveway. If that changes how you think about protecting your HEMI, hit subscribe and drop a comment below telling me whether you've already deleted MDS or you're still on the fence. That's the conversation I want to see. The third trick costs less than a fast food meal and changes how your engine manages heat. A 180-degree thermostat replaces the stock thermostat, which opens between 203 and 210 degrees Fahrenheit, with one that opens at 180. The result is an engine that reaches operating temperature and then stabilizes 20 to 30 degrees cooler than stock. Lower coolant temperature means less thermal stress on every seal, every gasket, and every fluid in the engine bay. Your oil stays in its optimal viscosity range longer. Your coolant additives degrade slower. The rubber components throughout the cooling system, hoses, O-rings, heater core connections, experience less heat cycling fatigue. Over 150,000 miles, that 20-degree reduction adds up to measurably less thermal wear across the entire engine. The thermostat itself costs under $20. The catch is that your electric cooling fan is programmed to activate based on the stock thermostat temperature. With a 180-degree thermostat, the engine reaches its new equilibrium before the fan's activation point, which means the fan may never engage in normal driving. You need a tune or a Pulsar LT module to lower the fan activation threshold to match the new thermostat. Without that adjustment, you'll run fine on the highway where airflow handles cooling, but in stop-and-go traffic on a hot day, the fan won't kick in when it should. The tune or Pulsar adds cost, but if you're already running a tuner from Trick 2, the fan threshold adjustment is included in the calibration. Dealers won't install a 180-degree thermostat because it's off-spec from factory engineering. They're not wrong, it is off-spec. It also works. And every owner running one reports lower oil temperatures, lower coolant temperatures, and an engine that feels less stressed in summer heat. Trick 4 replaces a mechanical component with an electrical one and frees up power you didn't know you were losing. An electric fan conversion removes the belt-driven mechanical fan and clutch assembly and replaces it with an electric fan mounted to the radiator shroud. The mechanical fan is driven by a belt connected to the crankshaft. When the fan is spinning, which is always because the belt is always turning, it's consuming engine power. That parasitic loss runs 10 to 15 horsepower depending on RPM and fan clutch engagement. You don't feel it as a single dramatic loss. You feel it as a truck that accelerates slightly slower than it should, revs slightly heavier than it needs to, and works slightly harder at every RPM all day long. An electric fan draws power only when it's activated, when coolant temperature reaches the trigger point. The rest of the time, zero parasitic drag on the engine. The crankshaft spins without resistance from the fan assembly. Throttle response improves noticeably. The engine revs faster and cleaner. And the old fan clutch, a mechanical component that eventually fails, locks up, or freewheels, is eliminated entirely. No more fan clutch failure, no more belt load from a component that's working against you 90% of the time. The conversion costs around $100 for a quality electric fan assembly. Wiring is straightforward: a relay, a temperature switch or controller, and a fused power connection. Most owners complete the installation in an afternoon. The fifth trick protects the most expensive transmission ever put in a Ram 1500, and it fixes a factory design compromise that's cooking your fluid. The ZF 8-speed uses a thermal bypass valve that keeps the transmission cooler closed until the fluid reaches approximately 200 degrees Fahrenheit. The intent is to help the fluid warm up faster for efficiency. The consequence is that under towing load or sustained highway driving in summer heat, the fluid climbs to 220 or 230 degrees before the bypass opens fully and allows the cooler to do its job. That's 20 to 30 degrees above optimal operating temperature, and every degree above optimal accelerates clutch pack wear and fluid degradation. A thermal bypass delete or upgrade makes the cooler active at all times. Fluid circulates through the cooler from startup regardless of temperature. Under load, temperatures drop 20 to 30 degrees compared to stock. Owners who have done this mod report fluid temperatures stabilizing between 176 and 196 degrees under towing, exactly the range ZF engineered the transmission to operate in. Stock trucks towing the same loads in the same conditions routinely exceed 220 degrees. The difference is visible on any transmission temperature gauge, and the long-term effect on clutch pack life is significant. The fluid stays in its optimal viscosity range. The clutch packs engage in fluid that transfers pressure correctly instead of fluid that's thinning from heat. A transmission cooler that works all the time costs nothing in durability and saves everything in fluid life. The bypass delete parts run $100 to $200. For a transmission that costs $4,000 to $6,000 to rebuild, that's the cheapest insurance available. Trick 6 improves what your engine breathes, but only if you choose the right type. A cold air intake with a sealed box, S&B or K and N sealed designs, replaces the stock air box with a higher flow unit that draws cooler air from outside the engine bay. This is not an open cone filter sitting in the engine compartment, breathing hot air off the exhaust manifold. Open cone intakes look impressive and sound aggressive, and they feed your engine air that's 50 to 80 degrees hotter than ambient. Hotter air is less dense. Less dense air means less oxygen per cycle. You're paying for a part that makes your engine less efficient. A sealed box intake isolates the filter element from engine bay heat and routes fresh air through a dedicated channel. Throttle response improves. The intake sound becomes slightly deeper under acceleration. On a stock tune, horsepower gains are minimal. The factory airbox is surprisingly efficient, but combined with a tuner and a ported throttle body, the upgraded intake becomes a meaningful part of the airflow equation. Cost runs $200 to $400. Trick 7 is the complement to Trick 6, a ported or larger throttle body. The throttle body is the gateway between your intake and the engine. Stock throttle bodies on the HEMI are adequately sized for factory calibration, but they leave room for improvement in airflow volume and velocity. HEMI Fever produces ported throttle bodies specifically machined for the 5.7 HEMI, material removed from the bore and the transition surfaces to reduce turbulence and increase flow. On a stock tune with no other modifications, a ported throttle body produces minimal measurable horsepower gains. Throttle response improves, the pedal feels sharper, the engine picks up faster off idle, but the real value appears when combined with the tuner from Trick 2 and the cold air intake from Trick 6. Each individual component adds a small percentage of improvement. Together, they create a complete airflow path from filter to throttle body to combustion chamber. That's meaningfully better than stock. Cost for a ported throttle body runs $150 to $300 depending on the manufacturer and the level of porting. Trick 8 changes how your truck sounds, and it's the one most owners are confused about legally. A resonator delete removes the resonator from the exhaust system. The resonator sits after the catalytic converter and exists solely to reduce exhaust noise. It does not filter emissions. It does not process exhaust gases. It does not contain any catalytic material. It's a sound dampener, a hollow chamber designed to cancel specific frequencies in the exhaust note. Removing it improves exhaust flow slightly and gives the HEMI a deeper, more aggressive tone without crossing into obnoxiously loud territory. The distinction matters. The catalytic converter stays in place. Removing the catalytic converter is a federal offense with real fines and real enforcement. The resonator is not the catalytic converter. They're different components in different locations with different functions. Removing the resonator is legal in most states. Some states have noise ordinances that technically apply, but enforcement on a truck that's louder than stock but not excessively loud is virtually non-existent. The cost is $50 to $100 at any exhaust shop. 20 minutes of labor, immediate results. And the HEMI exhaust note that comes out the other side is what most owners wish the truck had sounded like from the factory. Trick 9 changes how your truck puts power to the ground, and it transforms the towing experience. A rear differential gear swap replaces your stock gear ratio, often 3.21 on Ram 1500s, with a shorter ratio like 3.55 or 3.92. A shorter ratio means the drive shaft turns more times per wheel rotation, which means more torque multiplication at the wheels. Acceleration improves, towing feels dramatically better, the engine stays in a more comfortable RPM range under load instead of lugging at low RPM in a tall gear. The trade-off is highway fuel economy. A 3.92 ratio costs you 1 to 2 miles per gallon on the highway compared to a 3.21. For owners who primarily tow, that trade is worth every lost mile per gallon. The truck pulls stronger, the transmission hunts less, and the engine works in the RPM range where it makes its best torque. Owners who swap from 3.21 to 3.92 consistently describe it as driving a different truck. The HEMI feels like it has 50 more horsepower because it's finally operating where the torque curve peaks instead of lugging below it. For the owner who bought a Ram 1500 to tow and got stuck with a 3.21 ratio from the factory, this is the single most transformative modification on this list. Cost runs $500 to $1,000 with professional installation. The 10th trick replaces your need for a dealer diagnostic visit permanently. Alpha OBD is a diagnostic application that connects to your Ram through a $30 Bluetooth OBD2 adapter. The app costs $50. Total investment, $80, and it gives you access to functionality that your dealer charges $100 to $200 per visit to perform. You can permanently disable auto stop start, not with the button you press every time you start the truck, but permanently through a module configuration that survives key cycles. You can adjust lighting settings, daytime running light intensity, welcome light behavior, turn signal flash patterns. You can read and clear diagnostic trouble codes across every module in the truck, the same codes the dealer reads with a $5,000 scan tool. You can reset service intervals. You can access module configurations that aren't available through the Uconnect menu. And you can do all of it from your phone, sitting in the driver's seat, without an appointment. Every time you use Alpha OBD, instead of driving to the dealer, you're saving $100 to $200 in diagnostic fees. Over the life of ownership, that $80 investment pays for itself before you finish exploring what the app can do. 10 modifications, most under $200. Every one of them improves performance, longevity, or both. Not one of them requires a lift, a garage, or a professional certification to install. Your dealer won't recommend any of them because every trick you do yourself is a trick you don't pay them for. The truck you bought from the factory was built to meet regulations, pass warranty audits, and generate service revenue. The truck you build after that is the one designed to run the way you need it to. Every modification on this list exists because an owner looked at a factory compromise and decided to fix it. That's not illegal. That's ownership.